morning, everyone. If all of you can hear me, type a 1. Can all of you hear me? If you can, type 1 in the chat group. Thank you very much. Yes, Pauline, Sarah, Catherine. Yes. Good. Grace, Rukshan, Stephen, Manohari. Good. All can hear, huh? Okay, good. Welcome to this webinar, right? And I hope all of you are doing well, right? I'm sure a lot of us are still working from home. Some of us may have the opportunity to go back to office, which is good. Yep. Okay, so today we're going to start off with this topic called analytical thinking, right? And why do we need to do this? Okay, let me share some pointers with you. Now, this is just a snapshot of what the whole course would be. Okay, now let me proceed on. Right, these are my credentials, right? I'm a counselor, right? And I do psychotherapy also, especially dealing with people with addictions, right? And I also deal with training. I train many topics, which you can find out later in the Aventis website, where you can scan the QR code. You can find more details over there, right? And I'm also a coach. I coach people in terms of where they want to be and where are they now and how to achieve all this from the current moment. Okay, so without further ado, let me dive into it and let's go on. Okay, if all good, let's go. Now, along the way, if you have any questions, feel free. Okay, feel free to type in the questions in the chat group, right? And my lovely assistant, Myra, will take note of that, and then she will prompt me later on. We will have a Q&A session towards the end of today's webinar. All right? Okay, good. Right. So today we are going to touch on these 5 key topics. Number 1 will be, what exactly are analytical skills? What are they, right? We heard so much about it. What are they, right? And why do we need to analyze information? I mean, information are given to us. Yeah, of course, this information are most probably credible. So why do we need to analyze the information? What's the purpose of doing that? Yeah, and more importantly, the problem solving process. How are we going to go step by step? A lot of us do problem solving, right? Straight off, in the sense that, hey, what's the problem? Okay, this is the problem. Let's find out how we can solve it. But we need to hold the horses back, in the sense that, hey, what are we dealing with in the first place? Why do we need to solve this problem? And what is the problem itself, right? We'll dive into it more details, right? And what about analytical thinking skills and the dimensions behind it? Yeah, and the dimensions behind it. Last but not least, I'm sure all of us who are inside here in this webinar will want to know, hey, I may be good at it to a certain extent, but how can I improve my skill? How can I improve these skills to analyze better? Yeah, so that is where I will share with you how you can improve from here, where you are today, to somebody better than that. Okay, right? Okay, so number 1, what exactly are analytical skills? Can somebody type in, what do you know about analytical skills? Don't write think analytically. What else? What do you know? Come on, type in the chat. I need responses. That will get me excited. Yeah. So what are analytical skills? Can somebody respond? What are analytical skills? Let's hear from chat, right? Okay, let's hang on first. Some of us are typing. Okay, so what then? Okay, it's a thinking process to find a solution. Yeah, to be able to break down complex issues and solve it. Yes, break down complex issues and solve it. What else? What do you mean by analytical skills? Analytical thinking skills. Yeah, besides finding a solution. Yeah, finding a solution might solve the issue, but will it come back again? Maybe. Yeah, right? And Claire said to have some predictions on problems and then finding solutions to them. Wow, okay, so the predictions will be using a crystal ball, look at it, yeah, or playing cards, okay, yeah, yes. Hermes says challenging assumptions, very good, yeah, challenging assumptions. We'll touch on assumptions later on. Rukshan say ability to collect and analyze information, problem solve and make decisions. Very good. Yeah. So the ability to collect information first and then you digest it. It's just like eating food, right? You collect the information, you digest it, and then you solve the problem and make the decision to solve it. Okay, very good. So all these answers are good answers, yeah, and we'll dive into more than what it is today. Okay, right. So what exactly are analytical skills? Right. So it is the ability to apply logic to the collection and subsequent analysis of data, in the sense that we need to be able to know, like what Rukshan said, the ability to collect information. Right. Can I just check with you? You think about it. How much information can we get from the internet? A lot, right? Plenty, right? Plentiful. We type something, of course, bearing in mind the internet connection is good, your questions are well phrased, right? Asking the right questions. Tons and tons of information can flood the internet. It can give you a lot of information from there. Yeah, can give you a lot of information from there. And this is where, hey, what else can we use the information, right? Now, the information may be there, of course, but how do we know which information can we get from? Where can we get it from? Which one is good source of information? This is where you want to be able to learn that, hey, the internet may have lots of information, but not all information from there are good or relevant. Okay, and then subsequently, once you get the information, you must be able to analyze it. How do you analyze? How do I analyze this information? There are many tools which I will not touch on. What are the tools here, right? There are many tools out there that you can use depending on the application, depending on what you're looking for. Yeah, to analyze the information that you get hold of. Just a quick example, you may use a cost analysis tool to analyze, hey, what are the cost benefits of doing this or not doing this, or doing option B or C, right? Or what kind of forces that causes this thing to behave this way, right? One of which is a force field analysis. So these are some of the tools that we can use it to analyze the information. After that, then you need to be able to visualize, hey, what could it be? Visualize what's the cause of a problem, why did it happen in the first place, yeah, and express it. You must be able to express in terms of getting the message across, right? If you cannot express it, then that much you understand about the issue, and you can't express to your stakeholders, whether it's internal or external stakeholders, right? And then you want to solve the concept. What kind of concept are you using? Yeah, and some of them are very straightforward, and some may be abstract, right? Abstract problem solving. Yeah. Then you want to examine the available choices. What choices are presented to you? What choices can you think of, right? And what are the options, right? And then you're able to choose the right options for the right um, issue, right? And based on the whatever information you have. One of which sometimes we have limited information. Then what do? Then we can use inference. You can use inference, yeah, which is one of the way to deal with certain information that we may not be able to get hold of. Yeah. Number two. So why do we need to analyze information? Why do we need to analyze information? Yeah. Right. Bear in mind the choice and its effect on decision making, in the sense that, hey, when you choose, right, choose the right way to analyze it, it will affect how you decide the cause of the problem solving. Okay, because if you use the wrong tool, for example, if you use the wrong tool, then end of the day you may not be able to solve the issue. Take for example a good example. If you want to let's say open a can of Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, a soda. Yeah, you want to open up. So what do? If you don't have the proper, what do you call that, can opener or bottle opener, what do? Yeah, you may use a plier, you may use a screwdriver, or you may use the edge of a table or whatever. And some people may use the teeth to bite off the bottle cap, right? So the choices we make will affect the outcome, right? And in the workplace and also in the social setting, it will affect the relationship. Why so? Hey, I'm analyzing the information. Why does it what has it got to do with relationships with my friends, with my, BFF, or my workers, my co-workers, my colleagues, and things like that? Why? Because if you make poor decision, for example, at work, we make decisions a lot of times every day at work. If you make the poor decisions at work, it may lead to lack of trust and confidence. Why? Because your colleagues may feel that, hey, this person is not able to decide properly, or not able to solve the issue, not able to look at the problem objectively. In the sense that, hey, subsequently, the other team members may feel that, hey, I may not be able to let this person take charge of the project or take charge of the problem. Yeah, because he or she may not be able to decide properly, and because of the poor decision, poor analytical skills, right? And thereafter, it will affect the confidence, in the sense that your colleague may find that, next time let's discuss together rather than seeking the person's opinions and things like that, right? Because the confidence will be hampered. Okay, and for analytical thinkers, right, they can pinpoint, they can go right to the spot, right? How to go right into the spot, right? How to find out? Yeah, analytical thinkers, good analytical thinkers, they love to peel onion. Okay, what I mean by love to peel onion, they will peel the onion layer by layer. This is where I want to share with you, in the sense that they like to peel onion to find out more details, find out the root cause of it. Okay, and this is where you want to use, let me share with you, want to use the 5 why. Asking why did this happen, why is it happening this way, using the 5 whys 5 times. Okay, then to create the solutions. Okay, now it is important to know that, hey, the impact is very great, whether it's in our work life or in our social life, right? We make decisions every day. Things like, hey, when we are stuck at home, right? We are working from home, we are at home, then where are we going to eat? What kind of choices are we going to make, right? If you need to come back in time, you may not want to travel further to buy the food that you want. So what kind of analysis that you may go in through? Simple ones, you do it every day. Yeah, so these are some of the things that will affect our lives in one way or another. Okay, the problem solving process. So what about the problem solving process? Right? So there are 5 important steps. These are the steps that you want to take note of, in the sense that you want to go step by step and not to jump. Having said that, step 1 to step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 doesn't mean that you will go sequentially that way. Sometimes at step 2 or step 3, you may go back one step behind to check again and to move forward thereafter. Okay, let me run through the 5 important steps. Okay, step number 1 is problem formulation. Why is it important? Because this is the most important part of it. If you are not able to know what is the actual root problem, how are you able to solve the issue? Why? Because you may solve the problem, but it's just at the surface level. The problem may come back again, may resurface up, come back again. Okay, so this is where you want to find out, hey, using the peeling the onion, asking the 5 whys, find out what's the root cause of it. And most of the time, some of us do take information as it is. So it's important not to take the information at face value, right? Or as automatic truth. Doesn't mean that this information presented to you, it is the right information. We want to find out, hey, what goes beyond? Question this information. Find out more to it, right? Which I will share with you the 9 different types of questions you can use, the 9 different type of questions you can use to find out more, okay? Right, in finding alternatives. What other alternatives can we look at in the sense that, hey, for example, if you want to have better health, improve your health, you may take supplements, right, in terms of popping pills, or you may want to take Chinese herbs, whatever, for example, right, TCM, whatever, or you want to change your lifestyle. So there are always alternatives. So this is where you want to find out, hey, what other choices do we have? What other alternatives are there that I can explore, right? So here says there's rarely one approach to a problem. I'm sure all of us encounter it, right? So there are many ways to find out what could be the possible best solution to it, right? And ask strategic and important questions. Again, asking question, it is very important. So this is where the 9 types of questions are very useful, in the sense that as you go along, you can use some of these 9 types of questions to find out more details, find out what is the cause of this problem in the first place, and find out, hey, do we need to solve this problem at all, right? And this is where you want to, thereafter, with these few options presented to you, or you come out with these few possible solutions, then you want to find out, hey, which one fits best, right? Consider the feasible solutions, the viable ones. Which one is the best for this scenario, right? And always be open-minded, right? Yeah, some of us been there, done that, but let's be open-minded and find out, hey, what can others come up with? What are the other ideas that others may share, right? Be open-minded. Not necessary that those solutions that you've come up across in the past will always work in the future, right? Things change, right? Times change, situations change, environment changes. So be open-minded to receive information, receive opinions, and digest from there. Okay, right? The third step will be to analyze the alternatives. Once you have all the possible alternatives, then you want to analyze it, right? And bear in mind, influences will affect what you decide, in the sense that, hey, if your best friends will say that, hey, Joe, maybe this is the best way, right? It may influence you one way or another. We are human beings. So sometimes biases come into play, right? And this is where, hey, if your best friend says, do this way, or even your boss, right, your superior say that, hey, let's do it this way, will you want to check and question, should we do it this way or not, right? Be objective in a sense, right? How to be objective? This is where you want to use quantitative as well as qualitative examination. Quantitative examination is highly effective in terms of making difficult decisions, because why? You're talking about numbers, facts and figures, right? It's not about opinion where it's qualitative. It's not about opinion, but there are facts and figures, statistics, research to back you up, right? And this will help you to decide more firmly, okay? Because there's something to fall behind, right? So analyzing the options by taking the best way out, in terms of, hey, you want to think about what are the tools that you're using, how you derive it, and also the intuition part of it. Hey, your feel about it, your intuition. Sometimes you need to just feel that, hey, I think this is the best option out of it, right? Combining this will help you to come up with better effective decision making. All right. Step number 4, this is where you want to select an alternative, right? The key here is use both qualitative and quantitative methods, okay? Using both. For example, you want to find out certain opinion about this product. You may want to do a survey, right? Collecting data, right? Collecting data in terms of the numbers. At the same time, you may want to do a focus group discussion, for example. So you want to find out from a group of users, what are their feel about using this product? How do they feel about it? Yeah, in terms of the touch, the usage and things like that. So this is where you want to use both quantitative and qualitative methodology to collect the information. We do not want to just use on hearsay, right, or opinions or feedback from others. We want to use certain numbers, quantitative way to collect the data, right? And then this one you shift through the options. What are the options presented to you? And then you find the one best suited for the issue, right? So this is where you want to juggle with the balance with both the quantitative as well as the qualitative aspect of it, yeah. And from here, then you can use also your intuition that, hey, I feel that this is, a better option because of the opinions here, the qualitative, plus the quantitative figures and statistics to back me up. Okay, so this is where how you want to be able to select the alternatives. Right, step number 5, this where you want to implement it. Right, you have already collected information from various sources. Okay, and then you choose the different tools to analyze it. Right, and then with that you come up with the possible solutions. Right, and challenge the possible solutions, look at it in different ways, whether is it quantitative, qualitative. Then finally you want to put into action, implement it. Right, so this is where you want to make sure that, hey, our plans are not derailed by influences or by certain poor judgment, right? So this is where you want to be careful, right? So there are a lot of factors that will affect it. Why? Because, hey, we live in a society, we interact with people, right? And the influence affects our decision some way or another, right? To a certain degree, in terms of your interpersonal dynamics, right? Who are you dealing with? Your bosses, your peers, your direct reports, or your best friends, right? Or your family members, right? As well as the behavior of the organization. Certain organization exhibit certain traits or certain style, right? And the way they communicate, that will also affect your choices. Okay, so bear in mind all these factors may influence your decision making process. Okay, number 4, right, the analytical thinking skills and the dimensions, right? So these are the areas like what I mentioned, communication. How are you able to communicate your message across, right? If you can get all the information, you can analyze, and then you can come up with a solid argument, and then you can present it. But the way you present it is not clear, the recipient or your stakeholders may not be able to understand what are you trying to achieve. Okay, and number 2, creativity. You need to expand it. You need to try something different. Yeah, expand your ideas. Expand your ideas, because this is where you want to come out something different, something new, right? Something different and something new. Be creative. Hey, seek other opinions also, right? And have a critical thinking mind, in the sense that, hey, you want to find out what information it is, whether is it true or otherwise, right? You analyze it, and then you want to see in different aspect of it, challenge it. Okay, challenge it. And then the first 3 are more of a soft skills. The last 2, data analysis and research, more of the hard skills, in the sense that data analysis, you need to use certain tools to get the data, and you are able to analyze from there, right? Research is where you want to find out, hey, where can I get the information from, right? A good researcher will be able to dig out, like a detective, to find out more information, collect all the relevant information, reference to it, and things like that, and not just by opinions, by hearsay, and by a small group of people that you sample, right? Try to get a larger group of sample size that may give you a balanced outlook from there. Okay, right? And importantly is, hey, how to improve your analytical skills. How to improve your analytical skills. What are some ways? Can I hear from you? What are the some ways that you can improve? What are some ways that you can improve? Anybody, come. Let's hear from you. What are some ways you can improve before I share the details with you? What are some ways? Right? Let's hear from Claire, SP, Grace. Who else? Let's hear from you. What are some ways you can improve? Okay. I give you one. Attend the course. Yeah? What else? What are some other ways you can improve? Come, let's type in the chat. Let's hear from you. Puzzles and games. Yes, very good. Puzzles and games, right? Learning something new. I like Claire's response. Puzzles and games. I like to play games, right? mind games and things like Sudoku, chess, or whatever. Yeah, it stimulates your thinking process, right? Network. Okay, Janet, network. Oh, this is where you want to get in touch with others, right? Learn from others. Correct or not? Yeah, learn from others, right? Networking. That's where you want to learn from others. Get connected with many people from different levels. Because why? We want to learn from others from their experience, right? We may not been there, done that, but they have. So you want to learn from them and things like that, right? Hear from them, hear them out. What are their opinions? What else? What else? What about the rest? Okay, what about the rest? Come, type it in, type it in. What about the rest? Rukshan said, learn something new. Okay, always progressively learn something, right? Anybody else? Okay, let me share with you. Okay, right? This is where the 5 ways you can improve your analytical skills. Number 1, ask the right questions. Number 2, realize what you don't know. Wow, hey, if I don't know, how would I realize what I do not know? Right? Number 3 will be don't make assumptions. Earlier on, somebody mentioned, don't assume, right? Don't make assumptions, right? Don't take things at surface level, which I touched briefly earlier on, right? Turn information into knowledge, right? It's about information management and knowledge management. We want to be able to get the stage from the information management to knowledge management. There are differences, okay? So you want to find out how we can move from one corner to the other corner, okay? So let's dive into each and every one of them, right? Asking the right questions. Wow, these are 9 questions. Okay, let me go back. Now, what do you mean by ask the right question? How do you know what is the right questions when you do not know what is it all about? So how do you find out what's the right questions? Okay. So what kind of question is right questions? Okay, ask yourself, what kind of question is the right questions? How do I determine and how do I ensure that, hey, when I'm asking somebody, what do you mean by the right question? Yes, Hermi say open-ended questions. Okay, open-ended questions. Because why? Open-ended questions will get the person to give you more details rather than a yes, no, right or wrong and whatever, right? Two options kind of answers and that's all, right? Open-ended questions give you more details, asking the person, oh, what do you think about this one? How do you feel about this, right? Things like that. Asking the right questions, right? Now, beyond open-ended questions, let me share with you, there are 9 different types of questions you can use. Why? Because these are the questions will help you to get deeper into it. Besides using the 5 whys. Remember the 5 whys? Ask the questions why 5 times. Of course, you must ask tactfully, not when somebody give you the answer, you ask why. Then the person give you another answer, oh why, right? By the second or third one, the person wouldn't want to give you further answers already, isn't it? So you need to have the skill to ask the 5 questions tactfully. Okay. So these are these are the 9 questions that you can use in terms of, hey, clarity, right? Seek clarity, ask for clarity, make sure that you are aware of it. Logic, hey, does it make sense or not, right? Is this proposal make sense or not? Does it proposal make sense or not? And is this solution or this way of applying it, does it make sense or not? Accuracy, how accurate is it? What do you mean by using this way, using this method? How accurate is it, right? Find out, right? Significance, what is the most important part of information, piece of information in this equation, right? If you miss out this information, you may not come up with a good solution to solve it, right? And end of the day, you may solve part of the questions, part of the issues, that the problem may surface back again. I'm sure some of us encounter in a workplace as well as a social setting that problems surface, we solve it, and then after some time back, similar problems appear again. Why? Because the root cause is not being dealt with. It will surface again. All right. Precision. How precise are we talking about? What kind of details, right? What kind of details are we going into the minute part of it, right? Dive into it. Okay. Breadth in the sense of, hey, how wide, what kind of areas are we looking at? In terms of, hey, do we look at different perspective? For example, whichever industry you're in, right? Are we looking at what are the other competitors in the same industry are using? What kind of best practices are they using that we can adopt? Not necessary, yeah, but it's good, yeah. So this is where you want to look beyond, in the sense that, hey, if I'm in this particular industry, I may want to look at other industry, not totally not related to it, right? Total industry difference. See what kind of best practices they are using, and then see whether can these best practices from other industry can integrate into your industry. Let me give you a very good example. When in the healthcare industry, we check in to the hospital, right, after all the vital statistics has been taken. The nurse will come to you and say, sir, ma'am, what kind of food would you like to have for lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and things like that, yeah. Then you choose, and then you select it, and then during the meal time, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the food served in front of you. When you open up, wow, it is hot. It's not like, cold from the cold kitchen. It's piping hot. So where did they get this idea from? Yeah, in the healthcare industry, they look at the F&B industry. F&B industry gets you, you know choices. Your, what do you call it, the menu. You can choose what kind of food you want, whether it's Western, international, Chinese, Muslim, whatever, or vegetarian. You get to choose, because why, the saying goes, if your stomach is happy, you feel better. So in the healthcare industry, when the patient feels good, right, through the stomach feels good, the recovery rate might be better. Okay, so they adopted, from the healthcare industry, adopted the F&B industry, using the menu to let patients choose. Another way is that, hey, they look at the airline industry. The airline industry, out up there, probably 30,000 feet, is very cold, but the food served to you is very hot. So likewise, they want to apply this method, right? Looking at different industry to apply into your own industry. So we want to look at things broader sense, in a broader sense. Okay. The next one will be fairness, in the sense that, hey, when you come up with the viable solutions, right? You may digest the information, collect the information, and then digest, come up with the possible solution, and then you decide, and then you choose the final decision. Ask yourself, is this decision fair to everybody, not just to your stakeholders, not just to your stakeholders, but to others as well, others that is involved, maybe in your own organizations, right? In the sense that, hey, you may satisfy the stakeholders, your customer, but it may not be fair for the logistics department, or it may not be fair for the finance department, so on and so forth. So is it fair to everybody? Yeah, relevance, whether this solution is relevant to this person or this party, and things like that. All right. In terms of depth, how can we dive deep into it? We don't want to touch the thing at the surface level. That's why I say you need to dive deep, find out more. How to find out more? Using the 5 whys. Dig for more information. Things like, hey, I have a toothache, for example. So what causes the toothache? Right? Find out more. Is it because I didn't brush my teeth well, right? Not the right way of brushing it, or I didn't brush it frequent enough, or I ate too much sweet stuff and things like that. So find out more details, because if not, then you're just solving the symptoms, right? The root cause will still there, and it may surface again. Are we good? Yeah. So this is where you want to ask the 9 different type of questions to find out more. Having said that, having said that, are we going to use all the 9 different questions at every juncture? Are we going to use every questions at every juncture? If you think yes, type a Y. If you think no, not all the questions can be used at every problem solving stage, then type a no, as in N. Right? If yes, type a Y. If no, type an N. Let's hear from you. Can you use, or should you use all the 9 different questions to solve the problem? Y or N? Let's hear from you. Question is, are we supposed to use all the 9 questions at every juncture to solve the problem? Okay, right? Okay, so far all the N, right? Yep, very good. Yep, so these are 9 types of questions, 9 different types of questions for you to use. Not necessarily you want to use it, all of them at the same time. Yeah, again depends on the your judgment, depends on the situation. What problem are we dealing with? What kind of questions should we be asking? Okay, so you can use all of them, some of them, or maybe one or two. That's all. These are the tools. These are the tools for you. It's just like a toolbox, right? You open up the toolbox, you got different type of tools. Do we use all the tools to solve the issue? No. You use the right one to solve it. Are we good? Yep. Number two, realize what you don't know. Wow. Okay. So in the sense that, hey, sometimes we don't want to ask questions. Why? Because embarrassed. We feel that, hey, yeah, these are silly questions. It may sound silly to others, so I better don't ask. Okay. So important thing to take note is do not be embarrassed or be afraid to ask questions, even simple questions. Why? This is where you want to seek clarity, isn't it? Remember the clarity, the first one? You want to seek clarity. Hey, can you tell me more? Can you elaborate? Can you share with me what you mean by that? Gain clarity. Okay? Find out what exactly it is. If you're not sure, ask. It's okay. Right? Not everybody are on the same page. So this is where you want to ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Right? And always go back to the basic. What is the reason behind? Why is this happening? Right? Go back to the basics rather than most of us would jump into finding out the solution, right? So step back, find out what's the basics, what are the issues behind, right? And then use research because why? These are fundamentals. They can't run away because these are core, right? The hard data, right? Whether is it numbers or certain figures that you are able to abstract from certain survey or things like that. Yeah, use that to guide you along the way because it can't be refuted. Okay, right? And don't make assumptions. Some of you shared, don't make assumptions because the crude way of saying, hey, don't assume. Why? Because it make out of you and me. Yeah? So ask the stakeholders, ask your stakeholders whether is it internal or external. Ask the stakeholders, hey, uh, do you really know what you're looking for? Do you know what you're asking? Is this what you really want? Be sure to check with them, right? Whether it's internal stakeholders or external stakeholders, ask them, are you sure what exactly is it that you're looking for? What is your main objective? Find out. For all you know, sometimes your stakeholders may not be clear. So then that is where you want to counter check with them. Because if you're not clear, end of the day, whatever solution you give them may not meet their needs. Okay, so you want to be sure that, hey, your stakeholders are clear what they want. At the same time, you want to check yourself, hey, what do they want? Am I clear of what are their needs? Then I can target my needs, target their needs that they are looking for. Okay, so the key here to effective problem solving is to examine the specific subsets of information in the sense that, hey, you want to find out what kind of information beyond what you know, right? This is where you want to use inference, right? Because some information may not be readily available for you, right? So this is where you want to gather information and then, hey, some information might be missing. Where else can you find? If you're not able to find it, then based on whatever information you have, then you can use inference that, hey, with this one, I infer so and so, okay? Because inference based on what your experience is, what kind of experience you have, based on the limited information you have. Take for example a mystery novel. A mystery novel. They may tell you certain information, but that's much they can give you. They won't tell you who's the murderer or who's the thief, for example. But based on the information they provided, right? As you read along, you find that, oh yeah, okay, I think Mr. Jack may be the culprit or maybe the victim or whatever, right? Because of the information given to you in the novel, for example. So with the information given to you, but some information are not clear, with this concrete information, you can infer the possible solution. Okay, so this is where then you want to acquire more solid backing up for you. Go and find out more research, ask around, get data from there, right, to ascertain your decision that you have chosen. Okay, Number four, don't take things at face value. Don't take things at face value. Cross-check your statistics and research, right? Some of us are very good at finding data, finding information. Some of us may not be that strong, but it's okay. You can improve from there. So once you've checked your information, you have done all your survey, your research, your focus group discussion, and so on and so forth, using whatever analysis tools you have, counter check, right? Make sure that, hey, this data, this research is correct, is accurate, yeah? And don't just take the research data from the internet, whichever that may come from, at face value. Yes, they may have done it, but find out what are the conditions that they get this information from, right? Maybe from a small group of sample size, or otherwise only from this country, not internationally, right? That they may not consider different religion, different race, different educational level, and so on and so forth. So that will cause the statistics to be skewed to one way or another. So you want to cross-check with it, right? So this one you want, as you go along this way, you want to evaluate critically what kind of information are we talking about, okay? Whether is it valid or not, okay? Then this is where you want to make decisions based on the value in terms of, hey, is this value that is being presented credible, right? You want to talk about the source of it. Where does it come from, right? Is it from a blog, or is it from some opinion, a poll and things like that, right? So this value information is at a certain value or not, right? You may want to get it from a research organization, then again you want to cross-check it, yeah? So this is where you want to find out more, right? Actively question the credibility, right? Who says what, right? Who says what? There must be some ground, some solid ground to base on, yeah? Not that, oh, I got this information from the blog, from the internet, from this place, and so on and so forth. You must check the credibility, where it comes from, okay? Then the fifth one will be turning the information into knowledge. The difference between information and knowledge. Information is what you get on the surface level, what you can get, right? And you can copy and paste the information, whereas knowledge is getting the information, then you digest it and you understand it and comprehend it, and it's not easy to copy in terms of that knowledge. Information, you can get it anywhere, and you can, other person can get it the same information as well. So this is where it can be cut and paste, copy, yeah? Whereas knowledge management is a different level, in the sense that you get it, then you think through it and analyze, right? You do the cognition part of it, you think through, right? So with that in mind, you want to make sure that, hey, who are we trying to solve this issue for? It must be for somebody. So who are your stakeholders, right? And what are the goals they are looking for? What do they want, right? Am I solving what they are looking for? Okay. Now this is where you want to categorize your information also, right? Categorize in terms of, hey, are this information important, secondary information, or optional information, in the sense that, hey, even if the optional informations are not there, it's okay, it doesn't really affect so much on the decision making process. But critical information needs to be there so that you can use it effectively, right? So you want to find out for a certain pattern, certain traits that, hey, is clear to you, right? Then this is from here that you can see that, oh, with this information is gearing towards that, hey, it is likelihood that this may cause the problem, or likelihood that this may resurface again. If the problem is not solved, it may resurface again, right? And then you want to summarize them. You want to come up with a strong argument. You want to summarize them, right? To come up with it, then you are able to get ready to present to your stakeholders, right? So you want to have this argument ready for you, right? With all the resources backing you up, whether is it quantitative or qualitative, and you have done all the extensive digging of information, analyzing what's the root cause of the problem, yeah? And then this is where you have the solid argument over there. Example it in the sense that, hey, subsequently you can review it through, rather than when you come back to it, hey, what exactly is very detailed mess that I may not be able to run through it again. Example in the sense that, hey, you can review through. In the sense that somebody new to it, you may be able to guide the person look at it, easier to follow through. Are we good? Yeah, because if not, then it's finding a needle in a haystack in a sense. So you want to example in information that is clear, concise, and you can review through it. Anybody pick up this information can also do it. It's pretty much like your typical standard operating procedures. You want to make sure that, hey, everybody can look at it and follow through, and not say, hey, what does it mean doing this? They may not be clear. Are we good? Yeah? Okay, so with that, thank you very much. Before we go into the survey, let's hear from the rest of you whether do you have any questions. Any questions? You may either speak it up, yeah, turn on your speaker. If not, then you may, if you're shy, then you want to type it down. Okay, Myra, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, this is my lovely assistant. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's go on for a while. Some of you may be typing the questions. Okay, thank you, Janet. Okay, for those who are thinking about the questions or framing the questions to type it out, right? The rest of us, do give us your feedback. The QR code is there. Do scan and give us the what do you call that feedback, right? So that we can improve from here. Okay, any books to recommend? There are a lot of books. I won't particularly recommend any particular book, but this is where you want to read widely. Yeah, you want to read widely and find out what is best that is being described in the book. Because I normally don't use any one particular source. I use from different sources. So this is where you want to critically evaluate. Hey, which one is good to use? Which one may not be good over here, but somebody else mentioned over the other side may be good. So this is where you want to read widely. Yeah, Janet? Okay. Right. Is data analytic related to analytical thinking? In a way, yes, but it's not exactly as it is. Right. What about critical thinking? Okay, critical thinking is different because analytical thinking forms part of critical thinking. Okay, Clara, right? Critical thinking, analytical thinking is part of it. Right? In the critical thinking course, I will touch on part of it is analytical thinking, but not in detail. I do run critical thinking courses, right, with Aventis. So critical thinking is a broader sense, right? Analytical thinking is part of the critical thinking framework. Uh, some of you may hear, hey, what about systems thinking? System thinking is a whole system itself. The name says that it's a system thinking. It's a process, it's a whole system, right? Within each inside you have critical thinking, you have creative thinking, you have analytical thinking, you have design thinking. Yeah, so all these are different. Okay, uh, just to share with you, design thinking is more of user focus, right? User focus. Hey, what is it that the user is looking for that I can come up with something that is workable, usable for the user, right? Is in terms of designing a product or a certain solution to fit the person. Do you include knowledge management in your critical thinking course? Okay. Knowledge management is, I do touch on a little bit, but not in detail because critical thinking itself has many aspects of it. Yeah, many aspects of it in terms of uh, identifying the information, right, and the reasoning of the information, right, and then checking your assumptions, you're coming up with your arguments, and then your communication and things like that. So these are some of the things that I will run through in the critical thinking course. All right. Again, with inside there would be things like information management, knowledge management, and analytical thinking, a little bit of design thinking concepts over there. Okay, anybody else? Thank you, Clara. Jenny, any more questions? What about the rest? The rest are good? Okay, not to worry, right? If you don't have a chance to ask questions, don't worry, you can sleep well tonight, okay? At the same time, do give us your feedback, scan the QR code, right? Scan the QR code, right? And give us the feedback. And then this is where, let me see, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending this webinar. I hope you have gained some information from here. It's not the details of it, right? The details will be shared in the course on the 14th of September, right? And then this way you want to find out more, right? There will be exercises, group discussion and things like that, some activities to help you to improve your analytical thinking skills, okay? Right, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, right? Hope to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into this webinar. We hope we've been able to help you pick up some tips on how to think analytically at work. We know for sure this skill will go a long way, so feel free to drop your questions in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more webinar replays. See you again. Bye.